They told women to be quiet, polite, forgiving, to smile while being disrespected, to stay soft while the world sharpened its knives. And every time she sacrificed her voice to keep others comfortable, a piece of her destiny disappeared. Society calls it being nice. But what if that kindness is slowly becoming a prison? What if constantly saving everyone else is destroying the woman she was meant to become? Tonight, I'm not here to talk about sweetness. I'm here to talk about survival, power, boundaries, and the dangerous lie that a woman must suffer in silence just to be called good. From the moment many women enter the world, they are taught that kindness is the highest form of value. Be polite, be patient, be understanding, be soft enough to comfort everyone, even when nobody comforts you. Somewhere along the way, kindness stopped being a beautiful character trait and became a silent obligation. People began expecting women to tolerate disrespect in the name of peace, to remain silent in the name of maturity, and to sacrifice themselves in the name of love. That is not kindness. That is emotional surrender disguised as virtue. A kind woman listens, supports, forgives, and cares deeply. But a weak woman is expected to accept everything without resistance. Society often confuses the two because weakness is easier to control. When a woman never says no, people call her good. When she finally speaks up, protects her boundaries, or refuses mistreatment, suddenly she is called difficult, arrogant, or selfish. The truth is, people become uncomfortable when kindness no longer comes with obedience. There is nothing weak about having compassion. Real kindness requires strength because it takes emotional control to remain respectful in a cruel world. It takes discipline to choose peace instead of revenge. But kindness becomes dangerous when it teaches a woman to abandon herself for the comfort of others. Some women spend years apologizing for things that were never their fault. They stay in toxic friendships, painful relationships, and exhausting situations because they fear disappointing people. They become so focused on protecting everyone else's feelings that they slowly destroy their own confidence. The world will test a kind woman again and again. Some people will see her loyalty as an opportunity. They will take her silence as permission. They will mistake her patience for fear. And if she never learns the difference between kindness and weakness, she will continue giving pieces of herself to people who never deserved her energy in the first place. A woman who cannot set boundaries becomes easy to manipulate because others know she fears conflict more than disrespect. Strength is not becoming cold-hearted. Strength is learning that you can be compassionate without allowing people to walk over you. You can forgive someone and still walk away. You can love people and still protect your peace. You can have a soft heart and still speak with authority. A powerful woman understands that saying no is not cruelty. Protecting your mental health is not selfishness. Refusing abuse is not arrogance. Sometimes the strongest thing a woman can do is stop shrinking herself to make others comfortable. Many women lose their identity because they spend too much time trying to be everything for everyone. They become emotionally exhausted yet still feel guilty for needing rest. They remain available for people who disappear whenever they are no longer useful. That is the danger of confusing kindness with weakness. It creates a life where a woman is appreciated for what she gives, but rarely valued for who she truly is. A woman should never feel ashamed for being kind. The problem begins when kindness becomes permission for others to disrespect her limits, ignore her worth, or control her choices. True power is not found in becoming heartless. It is found in learning when to give, when to walk away, and when to finally choose yourself without guilt. Many people spend their entire lives trying to be accepted. They say yes when they want to say no. They stay silent when they want to speak. They constantly adjust their personality, emotions, and decisions just to avoid disappointing others. At first, it may look like kindness, humility, or loyalty, but over time it becomes something far more dangerous. People-pleasing slowly destroys self-worth because it teaches a person that their value depends entirely on how useful, agreeable, or convenient they are to everyone else. A woman who constantly seeks approval begins to lose connection with her real identity. She becomes so focused on making others comfortable that she forgets what she truly wants, feels, or believes. Every decision becomes controlled by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of conflict, and fear of being disliked. Instead of living freely, she lives emotionally trapped inside the opinions of other people. The sad part is that no matter how much she sacrifices herself, it is never enough for everyone. There will always be someone demanding more. People-pleasing creates a dangerous habit of self-abandonment. A woman may ignore her exhaustion just to continue helping others. She may tolerate disrespect because she does not want to appear rude. She may remain in toxic relationships because she fears loneliness more than pain. Slowly, she begins to believe that her needs are less important than everyone else's happiness. This mindset destroys confidence because every act of self-sacrifice sends the same message to the mind. Other people matter more than me. The world often rewards people-pleasers in the beginning. They are called sweet, easygoing, dependable, and understanding. But behind those compliments is a painful reality. Many people only appreciate a woman as long as she remains convenient. The moment she starts setting boundaries, protecting her peace, or prioritizing herself, the same people may become angry or distant. That reaction reveals a powerful truth. Some people never loved her for who she was. They loved how much access they had to her energy, time, and silence. Constantly trying to please everyone also creates emotional exhaustion. It becomes impossible to feel secure when your self-worth depends on external approval. One criticism can ruin your confidence. One rejection can make you question your entire identity. A people pleaser often becomes addicted to validation because deep inside they fear they are not enough on their own. They search for value in compliments, attention, and acceptance instead of building it within themselves. True self-worth begins when a woman realizes she does not need to earn the right to exist peacefully. She does not need to over-explain her boundaries or apologize for protecting her mental health. Saying no does not make her selfish. Disagreeing with people does not make her cruel. Choosing herself does not make her arrogant. In fact, healthy relationships become stronger when honesty replaces constant emotional performance. A strong woman understands that she cannot save everyone, satisfy everyone, or keep everyone happy all the time. Some people will misunderstand her no matter how gentle she tries to be. Some will leave the moment she stops sacrificing herself for their comfort. That loss may hurt, but losing yourself hurts even more. People-pleasing may win temporary approval, but it often costs inner peace, confidence, identity, and emotional freedom. The moment a woman stops begging for acceptance and starts respecting herself, she begins rebuilding the self-worth she was forced to abandon for far too long. Many people grow up believing that setting boundaries is rude, selfish, or disrespectful. They are taught to always be available, always be agreeable, and always prioritize other people's feelings before their own. Because of this, countless women spend years tolerating behavior that damages their peace. Simply because they fear disappointing others. They remain silent when they feel uncomfortable. They allow repeated disrespect to continue because they worry that speaking up will make them look harsh. But the truth is, boundaries are not walls built to hurt people. They are acts of self-respect built to protect emotional well-being, dignity, and inner peace. A woman without boundaries slowly teaches people that her time, energy, and emotions are always available for use. Some people may not even realize they are crossing limits because she never communicates them clearly. Others know exactly what they are doing and continue because they benefit from her silence. This is why boundaries matter. They define what behavior is acceptable and what behavior is not. They remind others that kindness should never be mistaken for permission to disrespect, manipulate, or control someone. Many women fear boundaries because they are afraid of conflict. They want to avoid arguments, tension, or rejection. So instead of protecting themselves, they overextend themselves emotionally. They answer every call, solve every problem, forgive every offense, and carry emotional burdens that were never theirs to carry. Over time, this creates exhaustion, resentment, and emotional emptiness. A person who never says no eventually loses control over their own life because everyone else's demands become more important than their own needs. Boundaries are not about becoming cold-hearted or distant. They are about understanding your worth. A woman who respects herself understands that not everyone deserves unlimited access to her energy. She knows that protecting her peace is not selfish. In fact, healthy boundaries improve relationships because they create honesty, balance, and mutual respect. Without boundaries, relationships become one-sided. One person gives endlessly while the other constantly takes. There are different kinds of boundaries that people often ignore. Emotional boundaries. Protect mental health from constant negativity, manipulation, and disrespect. Time boundaries prevent others from controlling every moment of your day. Physical boundaries protect personal comfort and safety. Communication boundaries stop people from speaking in harmful or degrading ways. When these limits are ignored repeatedly, self-respect begins to disappear because silence becomes acceptance. One of the hardest lessons many women learn is that some people only appreciate them when they have no boundaries. The moment they start saying no, speaking honestly, or protecting their peace, others may accuse them of changing. But growth always looks threatening to people who benefited from your lack of limits. A strong woman understands that not everyone will celebrate her boundaries, and that is okay. Respecting yourself sometimes means disappointing people who were comfortable using your kindness without responsibility. Boundaries also teach self-value. Every time a woman protects her mental health, refuses disrespect, or walks away from toxic behavior, she sends a powerful message to herself: I matter too. That message rebuilds confidence. It reminds her that she deserves relationships built on respect instead of guilt, fear, or emotional pressure. A woman who lacks boundaries eventually feels drained because she spends her life trying to save everyone except herself. But a woman who values herself understands that peace is precious. She knows that self-respect is not proven by endless sacrifice. It is proven by having the courage to protect her mind, her heart, and her dignity, even when others do not understand it. Many women spend their lives staying silent to keep the peace. They silence their opinions to avoid arguments, silence their pain to avoid being called dramatic, and silence their dreams because they fear judgment from others. At first, silence may feel safe. It may protect them from criticism, rejection, or conflict. But over time, silence becomes dangerous because it slowly destroys confidence, identity, and purpose. A dream that is never spoken aloud eventually begins to feel impossible. A voice that is constantly suppressed eventually forgets its own power. From childhood, many women are taught that being quiet is a sign of goodness. They are praised for being obedient, patient, and easy to control. Meanwhile, speaking boldly is often criticized. A woman who expresses anger may be called emotional. A woman who defends herself may be called difficult. A woman who speaks with confidence may be called arrogant. Because of this, many women begin shrinking themselves to fit into expectations created by society, family, relationships, or fear. They learn to survive by remaining silent, even when silence is hurting them deeply. Silence becomes especially dangerous when it forces a woman to betray herself. She may stay quiet in toxic relationships because she fears being abandoned. She may hide her talents because she worries people will judge her ambition. She may refuse opportunities because she doubts her own worth. Slowly, her dreams begin to fade, not because she lacked ability, but because fear convinced her to remain invisible. Every person has a purpose, but purpose cannot grow where fear controls the voice. A woman who constantly silences herself begins living according to other people's expectations instead of her own calling. She becomes trapped inside a life designed by pressure, guilt, and approval. Deep inside, she may feel restless, unhappy, or emotionally empty without fully understanding why. The reason is often simple. She abandoned her authentic self to become acceptable to others. There are women with incredible intelligence, creativity, leadership, and talent who never reach their potential because they were taught to doubt themselves. Some spend years waiting for permission to begin. Others wait for perfect timing, complete confidence, or validation from people around them. But dreams rarely survive endless hesitation. Every time fear wins, confidence weakens a little more. Every time a woman stays silent about what she truly wants, she moves further away from the life she was capable of building. Silence also protects injustice. Many women endure disrespect, manipulation, and emotional pain because they believe speaking up will make situations worse. But silence often gives harmful behavior more power. The longer disrespect is tolerated, the more normal it becomes. A woman who never uses her voice teaches others that her feelings can be ignored without consequence. That silence may protect temporary comfort, but it destroys long-term self-worth. Using your voice does not mean becoming aggressive or disrespectful. It means refusing to disappear. It means allowing your truth, dreams, opinions, and boundaries to exist without shame. A strong woman understands that her voice matters even when people disagree with her. She knows that confidence is not built by hiding, but by expressing who she truly is despite fear. Many people spend years wondering why they feel disconnected from themselves. Often, the answer is hidden inside the silence they were forced to carry for too long. Dreams need courage. Purpose needs action. And a woman who finally learns to speak honestly, live boldly, and trust her own voice begins reclaiming the future that fear once tried to steal from her. Many women are taught to give endlessly without questioning who is receiving their energy. They are praised for being available, understanding, forgiving, and emotionally supportive no matter how exhausted they feel inside. Over time, they begin believing that their value comes from how much they can sacrifice for others. They answer every call, solve every problem, and carry emotional burdens that were never theirs to carry. But one of the most painful lessons in life is realizing that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, emotions, kindness, and peace. Energy is valuable because it shapes every part of life. The people around you influence your confidence, mental health, focus, and emotional stability. Some people inspire growth, peace, and strength, while others bring constant negativity, drama, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion. A woman who gives her energy to the wrong people eventually feels drained without understanding why. She may wake up tired, emotionally overwhelmed, or disconnected from herself because she spends too much of her life trying to save people who never appreciate her efforts. Some individuals only appear when they need something. They disappear during difficult moments but return the moment they need support, attention, or comfort. Others constantly criticize, complain, or create chaos while expecting endless patience in return. There are also people who take advantage of kindness because they know a compassionate woman struggles to say no. If a woman never learns to protect her energy, she becomes emotionally available to everyone except herself. Many women fear pulling away from unhealthy people because they worry about seeming selfish or uncaring. But protecting your peace is not cruelty, it is wisdom. A person cannot pour endlessly into others while remaining emotionally healthy. Even the strongest hearts become exhausted when they are constantly surrounded by negativity, disrespect, or emotional dependence. Sometimes love is not enough to maintain a connection. Respect, honesty, and reciprocity matter too. One of the clearest signs that someone does not deserve your energy is when they repeatedly leave you feeling emotionally smaller. Healthy relationships should not constantly leave you anxious, guilty, or emotionally drained. A strong connection should bring encouragement, safety, and mutual effort. If someone only contacts you during their problems but ignores your pain, they are consuming your energy without caring about your well-being. If someone constantly disrespects your boundaries while expecting your loyalty, they value control more than connection. A strong woman eventually realizes that access to her energy is a privilege, not a right. She stops over-explaining why she needs distance from toxic situations. She stops chasing people who only appreciate her when she is sacrificing herself for them. Most importantly, she learns that walking away from unhealthy relationships is not weakness. It is self-respect. Protecting your energy also means protecting your dreams, mental health, and future. Negative people can distract, discourage, and emotionally weaken you if you allow them too much influence over your life. Some people project their fears, insecurities, and bitterness onto others because they are uncomfortable watching someone grow. A woman who constantly absorbs everyone else's chaos eventually loses focus on her own purpose. Not everyone deserves your softness, your loyalty, your time, or your emotional effort. Some people will misunderstand your boundaries because they benefited from your lack of them. That is not your responsibility. A wise woman understands that peace becomes impossible when everyone has unlimited access to her heart. Choosing carefully where your energy goes is not selfishness. It is survival, growth, and self-respect. For many women, choosing themselves feels unfamiliar, uncomfortable, and even selfish. They are taught from a young age to prioritize everyone else first: family, relationships, responsibilities, and the expectations of society. They learn to give endlessly, support endlessly, and sacrifice endlessly. Over time, many women begin believing that their worth is measured by how much pain they can tolerate for others. Because of this, they often abandon their own needs, dreams, and emotional well-being without even realizing it. But a strong woman eventually understands an important truth. Choosing yourself is not selfishness. It is self-respect. Choosing yourself means recognizing that your happiness matters too. It means understanding that your voice, peace, health, and dreams deserve attention just as much as everyone else's. Many women spend years waiting for permission to prioritize themselves. They feel guilty for resting, guilty for saying no, guilty for walking away from toxic situations, and guilty for wanting more from life. That guilt becomes a prison. It convinces them that caring for themselves somehow makes them less loving or less valuable. In reality, constantly abandoning yourself for others slowly destroys confidence, identity, and emotional strength. A woman who never chooses herself often becomes emotionally exhausted. She pours all her energy into people who rarely ask how she is doing. She carries burdens quietly while pretending she is okay. She ignores her own pain because she believes everyone else's problems are more important. Eventually, she begins to feel invisible, unappreciated, and disconnected from who she truly is. The saddest part is that many people grow comfortable with her sacrifice. They expect her to continue giving without limits because they have become used to her silence. Strength is not about suffering endlessly without complaint. Real strength is having the courage to protect your peace even when others misunderstand you. A strong woman understands that she cannot save everyone while destroying herself in the process. She knows that saying yes to herself sometimes means saying no to others. That may disappoint certain people, but disappointment is temporary. Losing yourself can last for years. Choosing yourself also means refusing to stay in places where your worth is constantly ignored. It means walking away from relationships that only survive through your sacrifice. It means no longer shrinking your dreams to make insecure people comfortable. Many women spend too much of their lives trying to prove their value to people who were never willing to see it. A strong woman eventually stops begging for acceptance. She realizes that her value does not decrease simply because others fail to appreciate it. There is power in a woman who finally stops apologizing for having boundaries, ambitions, and standards. She understands that protecting her mental health is necessary, not selfish. She allows herself to grow, heal, rest, and dream without guilt. She no longer feels responsible for fixing every broken person around her. Instead, she focuses on building a life that aligns with her peace, purpose, and self-worth. Choosing yourself does not mean becoming cold-hearted or abandoning people you love. It means learning balance. It means understanding that you deserve the same care, patience, and compassion that you constantly give to others. A strong woman can love deeply while still protecting herself. She can support others without sacrificing her identity. She can be kind without allowing people to misuse her kindness. The moment a woman begins choosing herself, everything changes. Her confidence becomes stronger, her standards become higher, and her peace becomes more important than external approval. She stops living only for the expectations of others and starts building a life that truly belongs to her.